But I think of all that money going out the door. Are we on yet?
About 5 seconds. Yeah, you're live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Trustees meeting for the Village of Nyack Board of Trustees. Today is January 6, 2025. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for that. This is our first meeting of 2025. And it's also our reorganization meeting, which is a formal process we have to renew terms and renew contractual relationships for the year. We don't have a particularly large agenda other than some approvals. We do, though, before we get to anything else, we need to administer the oaths of office to our trustees that were incumbents, but they have been reelected to two new two-year terms, each of them, and they apparently need to get re-sworn in for their second term, or their next term anyway. Not their second, it's fifth, I think.
Yeah.
So the other thing you go up there, right? Yeah.
Come on,
I have to do the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. It's a whole ceremony.
I know, I make fun of you guys when you do. No,
Don't make fun of me. Okay.
Well, make sure you get, someone's taking a picture, so make sure you get the.
Oh,
No, you go one at a time, one at a time. One at a time.
Okay. Alright, so I state your name, please.
I, Donna Lightfoot Pinto,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of village trustee according to the best of my ability.
and I will
Faithfully
discharge
the
to
duties
the duties of the United States of America
of a village trustee
as village trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was that.
Linda, not to tell you your job, but maybe that last sentence, you break it up a little bit for them.
I won't allow that.
It's like,
That
everything else was like,
Yeah.
I state your name, do solemnly swear, stop. And then at the end, it was like 3 sentences long.
I don't remember it being that long.
Okay, ready? Raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Pascal Jean Giles,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of village trustee
the duties of village trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it was at the beginning. Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Sorry, Donna.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to
You were my first one, Donna.
And welcome back. This is Pascal's, is your third term?
No, second.
Second term.
Don't age me.
Sorry, that wasn't my intent. And Donna's fifth term. I'm starting her fifth term. All right, we'll have, is anybody signed up for public comment?
No.
Nobody signed up for public comment. Does anybody want to make public comment? Why don't we can move Bill up to now. Why don't you make public comment and we'll take his issue right now and move him out of order so he doesn't have to stay through the reorganizations. Right. Want to talk about the sanitary? What's the other? Oh, well, that's the, we don't use public comment or?
No, we do.
Oh.
I'm saying like after Bill.
Oh, okay, so there are apparently some people here to talk about an issue. This is the opportunity to address it with public comment, if you would like to talk about it. Do the signature pad? Well, Bill's up there, but you can, yeah, once you pass it back, just pass it back to them and they can sign it. And then just sign and we'll take you in the order that the signatures come in. You'll have up to 3 minutes each to discuss your issue. Bill, go ahead. You want to make public comments? I imagine it's about the issue that is on our agenda. For tonight.
Exactly. So I thank you for the time to talk about an action that's being planned for January 20th. Several days ago, maybe a week ago, I reached out to make it known to the village that there was an effort to bring people together on January 20th. As you know, it's the date that we recognize the birthday of Martin Luther King. It's a national holiday, but it's also the day that a new president will be inaugurated. I imagine that communities around the country will be gathering on this day. So we want to do this as we do things in Nyack. We want to do it collectively. We want to do it in the spirit of Dr. King. So we're calling it a community service / demonstration in honor of Dr. King. And the organizing group is not formal yet, but it's the Indivisible Rockland Organizing Committee. So that word that we say at the beginning of every meeting in the pledge is part of the spirit that we want to be indivisible as a community. I'll just read the flyer, and the flyer contains, I think, what we're doing, and I can answer questions and certainly I'm available if you need any more information. So we quote Dr. King in saying, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." Just from the letter from Birmingham Jail, April 16th, 1963. And we believe that there are promised executive orders coming down the pike that will affect some of us, not all of us, but we're saying they affect everyone. So we're asking people to gather. It says 11:30. I have this is a draft, but I have a flyer. We're going to go to noon because we don't want to. There are many events around the county honoring Dr. King. At 10 o'clock, there's something in Sparfield at St. Charles. So we figure 11:30 doesn't get people if they want to attend enough time. So we're going for noon. And then at 2 o'clock, there's something at Pilgrim. So we give people, options for that day. So we're gathering at Hezekiah Easter Veterans Memorial Square. I'd like to thank the Village Board of Trustees for naming that park or that square by that name. We honor Hezekiah every time we go there. We're asking people to bring canned goods and warm clothes. Some of our most vulnerable neighbors, we say on the flyer, will have less access to the economy in the wake of today's promised presidential executive orders. So we will provide the food and clothing to organizations that work with those groups, but we're not naming them and we haven't even picked them yet because this is an independent activity. And then we're going to have a solidarity march in honor of Dr. King. It is a march. We will move our feet. It's cold. We don't want to stand still, but we'll work with the village to figure out the appropriate way to do this in a safe manner. A short march will take place that will pass locations that represent communities that are the subject of day one executive orders. And then we also on their flyer say that there'll be a general meeting. So if people want to participate in Indivisible Rockland Organizing Committee, they'll have a chance to do so in the future. So that's basically, the nutshell. I don't think, you never know when you're timing these things. I haven't marched the route yet myself, but if it takes a person 5 minutes to walk it would take a group of 100 people half hour, maybe a little more to walk it. So I'm thinking in and out, maybe an hour. It's cold, so I don't think people are going to want to linger. We will be very organized and we'll be very cooperative.
Andy, I know there's been back and forth on how we're going to manage the traffic and crowds and things like that. You want to comment on that?
It's a holiday. There'll be no village staff on duty. I know I'll be there. You'll probably be there as well.
I'll be there.
The police department will be on duty. I've spoke with Sergeant Palazzolo about it, and he'll have patrol in the vicinity if there's a need for any kind of I mean, they're not gonna do like crossing guards or whatever, but if they need to help out in some way, they'll be around. I don't anticipate it being a difficult event to manage. People walking around Nyack is always a nice thing. And I don't see any issues really.
Okay, is there going to be a place where people stop and gather or only at the beginning
We'll
of the
gather,
square?
we'll gather at the square at the beginning. We're gonna disperse near the Pride Center. It's not an official Pride Center event, but we'll be dispersing near there. And the route, if I can give you the
Sure,
route.
yeah, let's
So
do
we leave the square and we go south on Cedar to Bird. We go east on Bird to Broadway. We go south on Broadway to Church. So we basically circle.
Is that the whole block?
Yeah, we basically circle First Reformed. We come up Church again. We originally wanted to go further down, but it seems, I mean, we'll see how, yeah, we'll make a decision beforehand. We'll have an agreement. But we would come up Church and then go back through the parking lot. So there's really not that much exposure to,
And what are the sites you're passing, as you mentioned them?
right now, well, originally, see, the reason I still would love to go all the way to Bird is, because, I mean, I'm sorry, just
To
Depew,
Depew.
is if you go to Depew, you can, so the first site, and once again, these aren't official sponsors of the event, but there's a church on Bird that was one of the first churches in Rockland County, first Haitian churches in Rockland County. And I've had communication with their pastor, and although their congregation is diverse politically, they support this the effort to protect immigrants. And then we would we're going to go by Depew and Broadway because that's where Natalie Couch lived in Couch Court and across the street from Nyack Center. And she was the first woman to vote in Nyack. And when you pass the building of a woman who was born in 1900 and couldn't vote and wasn't able to vote until 1920, it shows the context of rights aren't forever and they need to be protected. And then we would go up originally to Franklin and turn, or we can go through Church and turn, and then we pass the Pride Center because executive orders and the appointment of some cabinet level officials have seemed to target immigrants, LGBTQ community, and women. So those are the three communities that we want to show solidarity with.
Okay, I mean, that's wonderful symbolism. I appreciate that. To tie, and they're so close together. It's nice to
So we'll-
tie them together. All right, any comment, Andy?
No, it sounds wonderful. And we're thrilled that you're gonna be using our brand new sidewalks going down Bird Street to South Broadway.
Much appreciated.
So
What's
yes,
the weather
the
like?
sidewalks, as far as we know, they'll be using the sidewalks.
That's as far as we know,
As
yeah.
far as we know.
What's the weather? What's the weather?
It's gonna be beautiful on the 20th.
Like warm weather.
No, yeah, January warm.
Sounds like I gotta put a coat of gloves.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, it's gonna be sunny next week, so we'll see how the sunniness extends all the way to Monday. It's a little far away right now for the weather. All right, any comments or questions?
No, I think this is a great idea. Yeah, I think we should do it. This is the best I can say about it.
Yeah, I don't think that, I think we'll all be in favor, yeah.
Yeah, what time?
We have some folks came out tonight to support the.
Bill,
Well, thank-
Bill, what time is starting?
Noon. I mean, we'll gather we'll be out there at 11:30, but we're asking people to show up at noon. And bring canned goods, and we're gonna really try to do a good drive, collect a lot of stuff. So, all right, everyone's invited.
Thank you. I was actually thinking I'll bring if you want, I can bring my minivan. We can stock a lot. It's good for packing stuff in. I can take the chairs out. And it'd be a big space for.
We need it. We love it.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
bring it.
you.
I'll bring it to.
Thank you.
Yeah, any chance to use my minivan? I take it. It's not that minivan. Any chance in the world. All right, do we need a formal vote on it? Is it in a form of a motion here? What's the motion number? What's the?
No, that's.
It's not on the agenda for a vote, but
Okay.
a vote is welcome. It could be,
We don't need, I don't think we need a resolution.
just give me a verbal, I mean,
Okay, everybody go ahead.
so,
There it is.
and Bill, do you need to have a rain date on this, or is this a kind of a
No.
rain or shine? Yeah,
Rain.
okay.
And we'll be there.
And I will, I don't think I need to remind anybody here, but I'm going to just say, just to make sure we make clear that at 2 o'clock, there is the MLK ceremony at Pilgrim Baptist, the annual, it's a wonderful event that,
And I should have, yeah.
well, you mentioned it, but I'm just saying that that's, and everybody here knows about it, so I'm just mostly getting into the record that that's happening and that. Pilgrim Baptist, they have a yearly MLK interfaith ceremony, the service.
And we're dispersing 2 blocks.
And we're dispersing it only enough for me to actually get a seat toward the front, which I know,
They're
Sylvia,
so great.
I'm always in the back.
trust,
Did you save your seat?
Sylvia Peterson.
I'm still gonna get there on time. I don't need to hold that seat for too long, because people will come down.
Sylvia's the treasurer of Pilgrim.
Oh, okay. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, so
Thank you.
thank you, Bill. And Bill, congratulations on the success of your pop-up shop, as part of the holidays. It was really nice in there.
Thank you, Joe, for coming in.
Yeah.
And for giving away that table.
That's right, gave me that also bringing the CBS News with me, one time.
Certainly, that too.
Yeah, that, all right, let's get, we said we're gonna take public comments on the other issue, so do we have the list back?
I do, I have.
Okay, why don't you call it out?
Regina,
Please, state your name for the record and,
My name is Regina Hill. I reside at Rockland Gardens, been a resident of mine for 45 years.
there's a microphone in front of you, why don't you?
Oh, my name is Regina Hill. I reside at Rockland Garden Apartments, been a resident of mine for over 45 years. So today's complaint is the new company that took over my complex. I know we were here like months ago or about a year ago when we stated about situations that were going on in the complex. So one of my big issues right now is that I asked them, did they get approved by the village to install cameras? They said they did. Okay, I know it's supposed to be common areas. So common areas should be facing the parking lots or the street views. Well, they have cameras that face like right into our windows.
oh,
A
wow,
little weird.
And I have an issue with that. And actually, my mom lives on another side. There's a camera facing in her window. They're doing a lot of development within the apartments and outside. And even for my apartment, they keep having outside contractors coming in. I live in a 2-bedroom. I have 11 smoke detectors in my house. We have gas going off in these apartments. None of the carbon monoxide are working. So they keep coming in constantly, either they're removing them, then they put them back in, they're doing all this drilling. A lot of residents are not comfortable. We have that and we try to complain, but we don't have a real company that owns the complex now. We know they're on the MMS group, Arco Management, anybody we contact, we're getting no response, we're doing emails, everything. And the other issue is with the camera is that the super that they made manager now has the phone, has the cameras on his phone. So we're uncomfortable as residents with him doing that because he has access all day. When we don't know what's going on, we don't know what's going on with the cameras the way they are. Some of the smoke detectors look like there's cameras in those too. We're not sure because we've never seen them. So there's a lot of issues going on with this complex. The biggest issue now is we don't know who the real company is that we can complain to, because the LLC that they gave us is non-existent when we Googled them. So people with Arco Management, MMS Group, nobody's responding.
Let's see, give me the name of the,
And we can find that for them.
Complex,
the owner,
Rockland Garden Apartments, used to be owned by Steve
is that the
That's the one.
LLC that you were talking about? Do you know?
We don't know the LLC
Oh,
because
there's no, you haven't found an actual LLC to look
No,
up. You said you Googled it. I wasn't
yeah,
sure.
one of the guys gave us a name, I can't remember the name, we Googled it, it is non-existent.
Okay. When you said you have 8 smoke detectors, these are new smoke detectors
I
in your
said
room?
about 12.
12, I'm sorry, 12.
The 2
I'm
bedrooms.
sorry, worse than that, for 2-bedroom. That's a lot of smoke today. That's more than I have in my house.
The funny thing is, they're
Yes.
not going off when they need to go off, because people are smoking in their apartments. We've had gas, I just had a gas leak with the guy downstairs for over it. He said he smelled it, but he didn't have common sense to call the fire department or O&R. And I know before that, last year, I wasn't home thinking as I have a camera in my house. They left my gas on for 9 hours. The smoke detector did not go off because come to find out, it wasn't working. The
Okay.
carbon monoxide.
All right, this is not this used to be Yaskey's building?
Yeah.
Yeah, Can you leave your contact information with the clerk so that we can follow up
Yeah,
with
I
you?
have her stuff. I just need your name.
And
This is the one we did what?
Here, you can have.
I definitely have some contacts.
630.
Isn't this something that the building
8842.
inspector needs to get involved with?
You can keep these.
For the smoke detectors, yes, for the smoke detectors, and if there's construction going on.
Oh, a lot of construction, every
You gotta
time you turn around, now we got a bunch of smoke detectors outside the building. The fire
We need a phone
department is
number.
there probably like every 5 minutes for false alarms.
Okay, that's a problem for them. They haven't brought that to me about this particular building, but when they're doing construction, they're supposed to turn off the fire alarms in the area that they're doing the construction in to avoid the false
No,
alarms.
the alarms are not going off during construction, they're just going off 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, they just randomly go off.
And this is all new from the new, since the new ownership.
Yes, every time you turn around, there's contractors in there doing something, they're drilling here, they're doing this outside, they're doing this inside. And we have nobody, and then it was a lot of theft because they left the doors open, they had outside people, it's just like a big mess. We got mail fraud going on, everything.
All right, that's let's track down the owner of when was it sold?
Yeah, I know who owns
Last
it.
You know the owner?
November,
Okay, so we'll have a
November 1st
conversation.
of last year.
Yeah, I'll find contact information and share whatever I have with you, Miss
Oh,
Regina.
thank you.
And I think we have your phone number here.
Yes.
And follow.
People are going to the hospital for high blood pressure, everything is just like chaotic, people are just like, can't take it no more, leaving, you have a lot of elderly people in there. That's another thing, we have lack of heat, we might have in a 24-hour day, we might have an hour's worth of heat, the heat comes on for 5 minutes. And it doesn't come back on for like another hour for 5 minutes, if you can go and weather like today, we have electric heaters, we don't like to use them because they're dangerous, but we have to have something because we have people with asthma, respiratory, babies, but we've complained over and over, nothing has changed.
Yeah, and you have a right to having consistent heat for sure.
Yes.
And you can definitely get help from legal aid for that. They'll defend you on that one.
Yeah, I know Alex well, I've known Alex
Okay.
over 36 years, but, and I'll be holding him down sometimes, so we go.
Yeah. You
I
should,
tell him, if you don't got bass in your throat, I'm talking for myself.
Yeah.
But
But
this is all the issues going on since the new people took over, and like I said, there's nobody to complain to because we don't know who they are.
Yeah.
We sent emails to the supposed to be manager that's over the maintenance/manager now, and she will not respond back to emails.
All right,
Thank
we
you.
we will get back, did you want to add
Thank you.
something?
Yes, I have,
Thank
I
you.
have a.
Thank you for coming, I
Yeah, thank you.
didn't know you were gonna be stepping down.
Yeah, I have a Haitian lady that comes to me. Because her English is a little bit limited. So they don't send her a bill. They send her bill to the super and he's holding it. We hold it, yes. And then on the 24th of December, this is when she went to the super, she said, where is my bill? And then he pulled it out of a pile and gave it to her and she paid for it. But after that, she received another letter with the late fee and 2 months that she owes the month of December, okay? And this is what he's been doing. And I don't know why, because they have her apartment number. I don't know why her monthly bill doesn't go straight to her. Why does it have to go to the super? And the super is holding it, he's not giving it.
This is the bill for the,
Monthly payment for the
the
rent,
monthly payment for the rent.
for the rent, that's for the rent.
I thought it was utility. This is the
No,
monthly rent
no.
doesn't go to her?
No, the monthly rent doesn't go to her. There is another address on that monthly rent, which is his address. But when I looked at the bill and I saw her apartment number, unit 501. But if you have her apartment number and that's her address, why don't you send her her rent payment? Why send it?
So the envelope was addressed to the super, but the
Yes.
letter inside, they obviously do have, they know what unit she
They
lives in,
know
they're
what
giving her a bill.
you did. Exactly, they know, because I looked and I saw the unit number there.
Alright,
So there was a lot going on.
did you give us your name? If you can share your name if you wish, if you wish.
Yeah,
just-
but because I would.
We'll get back to you, we'll look at,
Yes,
we'll get back
because
to you.
she's always coming
Yeah.
to me for help, yes.
We're advocating for her, thank you.
I am, okay.
Thank you. Write your name. So you're not. Did you not recognize him?
Yes, no.
Taking pictures during your.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
You know, I forgive me that I didn't recognize you, I met your father,
Oh, yes, yes.
but we had not been formally introduced, but I should have seen the resemblance.
Oh, my God.
And now I've embarrassed myself, oh, now I can hear it, it's the same laugh.
Yeah, oh,
So thank you for bringing this to our attention,
okay, thank
we
you for
appreciate it, and we will look into it, I promise we will look into it, we'll get back to you with the
Okay.
information, okay? Is there anybody else that wants to speak to this issue?
She
Yes,
also
I'm
had
sorry.
another
You have
issue.
more, okay.
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We have the hedges on, okay.
Okay, my parents live on the corner of Third and Broadway, and it's a one-way street down. And on Broadway, the edges are at the height. But on Third Avenue, going down, it's a hill. So the guy, Jack Bosey is the one that does our landscaping. Okay, so he has to even out the edges. So of course, there is a part on Third Avenue because it's a hill going down. It's not gonna be the same size as Broadway and up there. And then they're not blocking anybody's view because it's a one-way street going down. Okay, and I grew up in that house and my parents live in that house over 50 years. We never had anything from the village. Okay, I think, I don't know if you guys are being petty. I'm looking at, you know.
Okay, so what you're saying, I'm looking at it right now, I just pulled it up and you're gonna help me locate the exact corner that we're talking about. Your point is that nobody needs to see over the hedge because it's a one-way street, so they're going,
Yes,
there's no turn onto Broadway from there.
yes,
Let's just say Third. Should you say Third Avenue?
Third
third,
Goes on.
Avenue
Broadway?
from Broadway
To the Hudson.
yes.
to the Hudson is one way.
Mhm.
It's one way going
Oh,
east.
the other side, gotcha.
And now here's what's happening is that the code is very the code is, well, if you look at the code literally, it's supposed on corners, the hedge is supposed to be a certain height.
On that
The-
corner, it is at the height. It's only all the way down on Third Avenue. Like I said, there is a hill going down.
Then it gets higher as it goes down
Exactly.
to be level on the thing. Okay.
That's it.
All right, so we've gotten some feedback from the community on the hedges and the street numbers and things like that.
Mhm.
And we're looking at all of it. Is there a deadline on the letter? Is that what she's bringing to our attention? Is that there's a,
January 17th.
Yeah. And listen, my parents are old. Okay, my mom is 94 and my dad is 92.
God bless them.
Okay, so, and like I said, I felt that it was really And my dad just gave me the letter, I'm here to talk to say, you know, and we have a landscaper and he comes and he does the hedges.
So, okay, all right,
Okay.
we will look at it, and we
Okay.
might need to look at the code itself as to whether the code is nuanced enough to reflect some
Okay,
of the details like this. Because the idea of it is to avoid people at corners being able to see incoming traffic, but this is not the issue with your head.
exactly. And when you're sending people and I would like to be there, okay, because I'm my parents' advocate and I live across the street.
It's not nuance, that's the problem.
Why do we, it's the code
If
doesn't have
somebody, I know
exceptions.
you guys hired 3 new code people and they doing their job. But come on now. Okay, thank you.
And thank you so much for coming. All right, we'll get, and we'll
Yeah,
tell your parents we're looking into it for them,
Yes.
okay?
okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mom.
Oh, is there anything else for public comment?
Yes, we had Taylor.
Oh, Taylor, go ahead, come on.
Yep, Taylor Mandeville from Dickinson. I'm just here to support Bill in the MLK Day March. I also wanted to kind of explain a little bit briefly what Bill had mentioned, the Indivisible Rockland Organizing Committee.
Speak louder.
Louder?
Get a little loud.
That was good.
Perfect. So the Indivisible Rockland Organizing Committee is going to be the next evolution of Rockland United, for those who are aware of it. So I just wanted to come out and communicate my support for Bill, for IROC, and for kind of taking up the mantle. Admittedly, kind of there was just people had gotten burnt out, people had moved on, life had lifed, and I was kind of one of the individuals who was leading Rockland United in the interim, and I just got overwhelmed by other things. And so a few folks said, hey, this is a great opportunity to do some really great things. So I just wanted to express my appreciation for Bill and others who are helping lead the charge here to kind of revitalize it and do really important things. And again, just expressing my support for this rally. I don't know if anybody was at any of the women's march rallies when, who was first elected. But
We're allowed to say his name, it's not like Voldemort.
I'm not even a Harry Potter.
Here, he's not gonna, maybe not. All right, so maybe, we'll go with you know who, that's fine.
We all know who. But no, the bottom line is I was actually in Seattle at the time, and I just happened to, know that it was happening, and there were just thousands of people marching through Seattle. And I think that it's great to see the impetus from the community, and from people who are going to be principally affected by this. So thank you guys for support for this, and especially Joe, your support, minivans,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. Thank you for that, and everybody else on the board.
You got it, thank you, Taylor.
Thank you, Taylor. Sorry I didn't mention that.
And we will note that today, speaking of you know who, today there was a certification of the vote from November, which did not involve a riot or the break-in at the Capitol building. So we were happy at least about the conduct at that event, if not the result of that event. All right, are we anybody else for public comment?
No.
All right, then let's move on. We have adoption of the minutes for December 12th, 2024. Any comments or questions or corrections to the minutes?
I haven't seen them.
Oh,
No, they were a while, that was a while ago.
Yeah, I think I don't know if maybe she forgot to put them on the website.
all right, let's put them up to the next meeting. We'll just
We can
table
move
it
the
now.
next meeting
No, I
if
think
you'd
I
like.
sent them to you,
I-
but that might have been with the email transition.
That's true. I just
Yeah.
sent emails to the transition.
I
Yeah.
haven't gotten any emails.
For
I think that was it.
the records, as you haven't mentioned for the record, we did have a change of address for the website. to nyack.gov from nyack-ny.gov. And all of the email addresses are now at nyack.gov instead of at nyack-ny.gov. So when there was a change over the new addresses, there might have been some lost emails in there. But let's table the discussion of the minutes until next time. We'll do both weeks of minutes next time.
Can I make a note that on the newsletter, at the bottom, the old website address was listed.
It still forwards, but we should probably correct it. All right. All right, our action items. We start with 6.1, resolution 2025-1. The first resolution of the year is the resolution accepting the audited voucher
Wait,
summary.
now I get my t-shirt.
Always an exciting moment here at these meetings. Can I get on the table? Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And our first resolution of the year is unanimous. Resolution, action item 6.2, resolution 25-2, resolution accepting the mayor's slate of appointments. Can I get it on the table?
Motion. Second.
Okay, any comments or questions? I will just say that there have been no, everything was a reappointment. There were no new appointments. There was one that was not reappointed that I'm going to be discussing, and we can maybe do it the next meeting if we're going to do it. But everything else is, I think, was there any changes from last year besides Linda Donnelly was not listed as the deputy registrar. She's joined us since last year, the tax collector. But all the other appointments for the boards is the same, I believe. Any comments, questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Our thanks to all the people on this list. Many of them employees of the village, and many of them volunteers who work at our land use boards and other boards or on the water commission. And it is those are unpaid volunteer positions and they work very hard and we're very appreciative. Action item 6.3, resolution 25-3, designating depositories. Can I get on the table?
Second.
This is just to designate institutions as depositories of the money received by the village treasurer. You can see the list: Chase, Wells Fargo, Key Bank, M&T Bank, Sterling Bank, and MBIA. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 6.4, resolution 25-4, the resolution designating the official newspaper of the village. Can I get on the table?
Motion.
According to the resolution, we are going to designate the Journal News Rockland edition as the village's official newspaper for our notices that we are required by code or state law to post. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 6.5, resolution 25-5, resolution adopting the village procurement policy. Can I get on the table?
Second.
We have to do this annually to adopt the village procurement policy to reflect new purchasing thresholds and sustainability factors. Any comments on this, Andy, you want to make?
Is this working? Yeah. Just that the procurement it sounds like kind of a boring and abstract thing, but it is fundamentally about the accountability of the tax dollar and the public benefit. And that's why the state law requires or recommends that the policy be just adopted every year, even if it's not changed, so that the board and the staff and everybody is reminded of our process for spending money, the competitive bidding requirements, the getting multiple quotes, and so on and so forth. And that's what this policy describes. There are a couple of changes proposed, and I kept them in track changes so you can see exactly what they are. The thresholds for different kinds of methods for obtaining quotes are recommended from the state as updates with inflation and the passage of time. It's been a decade or so since these numbers were looked at. The accountants recommend raising the limits for the spending. For example, from $3,000 to $5,000 for getting 2 verbal quotations on prices. And adding up to $20,000 with 3 written, things like that. The value of a public works contract, similar numbers. These are small changes that kind of move with the times a little bit, enabling the village to get work done without having to go out to competitive bidding and have a sort of a public bidding process.
Okay,
So these are changes recommended by the accountants. And besides that, we want to try to be as sustainable as we can. The language at the end here that I inserted on the recommendation of our sustainability group was to emphasize where possible, if you're buying paper, for example, get recycled content, as long as it works. We have certain kinds of paper in the clerk's office, for example, that has to stand the test of time. It needs to be acid free. It's special, it costs more. But other times we can use recycled content. If we're buying a piece of equipment like an air conditioner or window unit, that we get the energy efficient variety. By putting these requirements, which are common sense at this point, in the procurement policy, we get points under the state climate smart communities grant
All right.
program. It inches us a little bit further towards the next big grant.
all right, excellent,
So
nice work.
that's what these changes are about.
Any comments or questions? Everybody good? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries unanimously for the village procurement policy 25-5. Item 8 is another area of public comment. I do not see anybody members of the public here unless Manny wants to make a public comment.
Don't speak.
Linda, you have any public comment? You can say-
Absolutely nothing.
No? All right, departmental reports number 9. Police department, do we have anything to report about the police department? We're having a meeting with them this month. We'll get feedback from them. They are going to be present at the meeting next Monday.
You should read the email I sent you later today about that specifically.
Okay,
We can talk about it offline.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are the police, are they not gonna be there? OPD?
I don't know if they're gonna be there or not. I thought they were, but I heard differently today, and so I'm happy to talk with you about it.
I'm very aware that they were doing a good job on foot patrols. And for the past 2-3 months, I haven't seen them at all. Right, not at all. They're not patrolling the village. Maybe in their cars, but not walking around. I was so happy that they see them on foot, but anyway, that's very disappointing.
Well, it's not a concluded matter, so. But I understand the foot patrol thing, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Just to, or Joe, are you,
oh,
you're good?
What?
You're done, you're good, with your comment?
Oh, yeah, and also, I won't be able to be here at the meeting next Monday. Unfortunately, with all the changes, I get a prior engagement, I'm gonna be away for a week in Albany. But I'm gonna be in my hotel and I'm looking for something to do and
We'll put you on Zoom.
put the Zoom, yeah, I'll be around.
What time is
I'll make sure that if you want to make a comment, I can put you on.
speaker or something or else.
I think 7:30.
Just to sort of piggyback. on two
7:30.
things. One, I will also be up in Albany for work, so I may need that Zoom link as well.
You'll be what?
I will also be up in Albany for work, so I may need that Zoom link as well.
I'll be in Greenbush.
No, I'll be in the capital somewhere. But also to piggyback off of Joe's comments, I did speak with a few folks who were in the plazas. They had mentioned that they would like to just have a meet and greet with some of the officers so they can just know who's patrolling their neighborhood so that they can get to know them. They did provide a compliment to Officer Taylor as the one officer who did take a minute out of her time, usually every time she was patrolling, to go in, check on everyone, say hello, introduce herself. So if in the next meeting with OPD, it would be nice to just arrange something at the senior center for the folks in the plazas, just to get to know who's patrolling.
And I've heard a lot of great things about her as
I have as
well,
well.
showing up.
She's wonderful.
She's wonderful, yeah. I've never met her, but I heard.
I did
things about her as
one
well.
of the events outside it.
Well, ironically, at that same meeting, as I was walking out, she pulled up and started to talk to a few folks who were just there, so it's
She's
very
at
clear
all
that she
our
does that.
events, you know.
Yeah.
Anything else about the police? You did raise something that I did want to discuss, which is we had talked about And we've talked about it over and over again about having this meeting, the board meeting, in other locations throughout the village to kind of show that we'll bring the meeting to the people in the plaza, we'll bring the meeting to the Waldron. And to the Nyack Center, we could do one. Perhaps we could, does anybody have an objection if I work with Andy about figuring out the dates for that and we just set them, because the meeting time wouldn't change, the meeting date wouldn't change, just the location would change, and all it means is you're going to a different place.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
Because other than trying to go through, we'll just look at the dates, do one every 3 meetings, we'll try to move on, go on the road somewhere.
Yeah,
And I would say that the one that we do at the plaza might be a good opportunity for us to do
yeah,
some sort of workshop and
Right.
have the police that do and
Yeah.
have them come in.
no, I think
That might be a good way to tie that in, so they're coming.
because there are things that I
You could be
will
at that
say,
meeting.
some of it is more village related than police department related, so if we did it jointly, then every
They can talk to us as
concern
well.
is addressed, yeah.
I think whenever we do these, that we'll do a workshop
Mhm.
with an open
Yeah.
question type
I think it's a good
thing,
idea.
starting before the meeting. All right,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead, I'm sorry, yes, Sam, yes, Dennis.
We need access via, electronically, Wi-Fi, so having the board meetings, workshops, I guess are fine, but I know it'll be somewhat of a inconvenience for me because I'm constantly accessing.
You'll have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the
I
second,
don't know where you're thinking of having the village board meetings once every, whatever you said, a few weeks or something. Just keep that in mind.
Okay, we need to access, we have to have internet access. for the meetings, yeah.
I know, Waldron and the senior center and the Nyack Center, I think all have accessible internet for.
If not, I'll give you my password for my.
No, I can
hotspot.
do that too, but slower, it's much slower. But no, it sounds like it's not an issue, so.
Okay.
That's all.
All right, good. So we'll figure out those locations and we'll put the schedule out so people know when we're gonna be in a particular place. Probably try to get them all, done by April and May, so we get them all done this spring. All right, anything else about the OPD? Village attorney report.
My back on the departmental report, yes.
You're here at 9.2.
It's a new year, Dennis.
Oh, wait, can I just say, because I meant to say you walked out for my mayor's remarks, and my first mayor's remark, but now we'll make it the first comment regarding the village attorney, is to congratulate you on the murder. First one.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, are we gonna make that today?
Mom, baby, and dad are all healthy, well, they're happy.
What was the birthday?
Very, very, very exhausted.
bet.
It's during the holiday, but what was
He was born December 20th.
it? So funny, okay.
Healthy.
sorry, Brother Robert's birthday. Oh,
So,
so he's the last.
I don't know, I don't have a report, but is this a new policy now? Because remember
Oh, you don't have to give a report if you don't
I
have.
was,
Dennis, I wanna know all the tickets that's being
Yeah.
issued, all the
We-
court cases.
if I have anything
everything.
to share, you know I don't hold back.
Well, that's what the next one is the village,
So you don't
we have a
need,
village clerk report, and there hasn't been a village clerk report in 2 years. But it's always on the agenda in case you have something to report.
like I said,
You have nothing right now.
if I wanna say something, I'm very comfortable
Okay.
interrupting. So
Okay, yes,
don't-
you are.
You don't need to put me on the agenda.
It's not interrupting when it's you, Dennis, it's just contributing. All right, let's, village clerk have a report?
No.
Let's just get out of the way and we'll go right to the village administrator. Village administrator's report.
So first, I just want to say to this board, thank you for appointing me as village administrator. It's wonderful to work for the village. And
Yeah, Dennis, you could have said that. Yeah, I mean, you could have shown some graciousness and accepted the 1-year appointment as village attorney.
This is close. I swear to
Same
God.
with Linda, the two of you interns.
Exactly.
Look at you being all, grateful and making the rest of you look
what
bad.
can I say?
You wait until he goes last.
It comes from the heart.
Went so fast, I thought maybe you tabled me.
Yeah.
Seriously, thank you very much. I thought you tabled me.
Too late, guys. You missed your chance.
All done.
He's the last public comment to sing to laud the
That's
praises.
Andy, yes, go ahead, please. I interrupted you. I apologize.
So, but just in general terms, I wanted to say that, and also I feel like we have had a really good year. In terms of things we've accomplished for the people of Nyack and the board. Thank you for your support and leadership. And also really looking forward to 2025. We got a lot of good projects, some new stuff, and a lot of maintaining of things that needs to happen. So very excited about the year to come as well. One one of the challenges we face is capital equipment. Our beautiful old truck number 27 right now is very sick. The front axle is seized up. It's being reviewed by our on-site folks. But if we get a big snowstorm, we're gonna have one big truck and a couple of mason dumps with plows. And the
I can
front,
put a plow in front of my minivan
Yeah.
and drive around. No, I can't actually do that. That's actually not possible.
so that kind of stuff does happen. John told me about it today. And we'll try to get it fixed as fast as we can. Hopefully the big snowstorm that's coming will wait a little bit until we're ready for it. So I want to say that, and just on that, we are going to be talking about a new garbage truck in the coming budget year. So I wanted to just make sure I'm sort of warming you up for that. It's a good chunk of dough. I know I've mentioned it before. We have some work to do getting ready for that. We are waiting. It takes a long time to get a truck. The swap loader, which is going to replace the dump truck that just went down, is in the pipeline, but it could be another like 5 or 6 months or something before it gets here.
5 to
So
6 months?
yeah, so they take a long time to build and get. But fortunately it's ordered and it's contracted and it's paid for and so on. So just a couple of notes, but thank you very much again. Look forward to working with y'all in the year to come.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Yes, thank you. And thank all of you for your service to the
Us
village.
ingrades.
Yeah, I was gonna say, eighth grade.
Oh, yes. Oh, all right, we're a little punchy. It's only 8:25. We're actually way early for punchiness. Old business, public safety officer, Andy, you guys.
So this is the idea of having someone walking Main and Broadway, sort of enhancing a sense of security in the downtown for pedestrians and so on.
Yeah, we approved it in the budget.
It's approved, there's money for it in the
took us
budget.
4 months to get the position approved by the county. We've had the position open, looking for candidates, and we haven't gotten anybody that.
It's a part-time position. No candidate has come forward who has qualifications.
I have a perfect candidate. I saw him at the Fireman's Parade. He's a, yeah, it doesn't.
I wouldn't,
No, I'm not,
Okay.
but he's gonna send me an email and, I'll forward it to you with his qualifications. He has building code, experience, enforcement, so forth. So you'll get it from me.
I look forward to seeing that.
All that stuff.
Say it again.
So it's a resume, like you need it, they need to have like certain things.
Yes,
Yes.
they have to be approved by civil service.
but
And
the big sticking point is they need a year of investigatory, or what's the other?
or work in the trades, like contractor
Work
trades.
trade. So there's a lot of people that qualify under that. That's not really been the limiting
Right.
factor. The
But I
limiting
think-
factor, we think, has been to some extent the fact that it's a part-time job at an hourly rate. And it's a tight job market, so.
And I'll say what I think is another concern, which is that this is fundamentally a public safety kind of position. It's having a background in the trades or even doing inspections of a building that doesn't talk back to you is not the same thing as trying to get people who are behaving in an overly boisterous or rude way to change their behavior if they're in front of a bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And so my concern is making sure we have a candidate who actually has some practice de-escalating people who are misbehaving in public space. And so that's why I wanted to sort of keep alive the idea of using a private contract with trained people who are, ready to kind of walk the walk of being a safety patrol officer. And we have that on offer.
If we did look at seriously a service, as opposed to hiring somebody who would be working internally, would we be able to maintain consistency with who's doing it? Like we would have a finite group of people who were doing it that met the qualifications of the person that we would be hiring if they were internal.
That's kind of the whole idea, is to have a professional supervising somebody who's trained. Maybe 2 people would switch off. We don't have that many hours to fill. But you'd want to get to know the person, and they would want to get to know our local retailers and residents and become a familiar face. Just like if we had a beat cop who was walking on Main Street every day, everybody would get to know that person.
All right.
The idea would be to not to have some sort of revolving door with a bunch of people you wouldn't recognize. Like this is someone we would get to know over time, and we could rely on that relationship. But the other, I mean, honestly, I mentioned the idea of a service because it's also scalable. Like if you had a special event and you need extra people, or if someone was sick and had to stay home, they would have a bench there. We wouldn't be left with no coverage essentially. So I want to encourage the board to give some more thought to the service that I identified when I was working on this earlier with the mayor.
Is there anything, the job notice that we have currently, it's currently out there, right?
I don't know what its status is right now.
Well, let's make sure that it's a new year, let's make sure that before we do anything else, let's make sure that the job, that the placement, let's put a new one in. Sometimes the new ones get more attention than the ones that have been sitting around for a while. Gussy it up a little bit, be a proud member of the Niagara Patrol or whatever the hell we're calling it. Well, let's try to get some more applicants. We just have had so few applicants. It's been a little bit discomforting.
How much, I'm sorry. Yeah, I would love to know the job description. How much is it paying an hour?
We were shooting for $24 an hour.
Okay, cool.
Part-time.
Yeah, part-time.
But we actually have the person, because we budgeted for a full year and we're now 8 months, 9 months into the year, into the fiscal year, we actually could have somebody work work more hours. Like we have more hours or, we have a little bit more money. Now, we don't have to spend every dollar that we allocated for it. We could push it into next year, but we do have a little more flexibility than if we'd hired somebody in mid-June and they've been working this whole time. We have a little more budget flexibility on it. But ideally we want somebody, but let's try to make one before we look at the second option. Let's make sure that we've beat the bushes for any possibilities of people who would be, and everybody on the board should be thinking, of people that we might know that might be interested. And we have obviously Joe found somebody that he gave you the name. So let's do that. Let's give it it's a little bit of it's gonna be a little bit of a quiet time for the next couple of weeks. It's gonna be cold out. It's not as much street activity as there is in the warmer months. So let's give it a couple of weeks. Let's put the thing out again. Let's get all the applicants, if we get any new applicants, and if not, we'll come back and talk about the other options.
Yeah, I will do that. I just want to reiterate my comment that the job descriptions from civil service, it doesn't cover what I consider to be in some ways the most essential aspect of this job, which is actually having some experience and knowledge of how to deal with unruly people. That is not what
It's not in the job. We can't put that in the job description. It's not part of the civil service job.
I mean, I'll put it in our Facebook post or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's the whole description, because it's focused more on code enforcement, is a little, it sort of doesn't capture the right.
It's the way that, it doesn't, it's not gonna jump out to the people who have law enforcement backgrounds. What about, let's two things. One is, have we ever put it in the newsletter? I'm sorry.
I mean, we can.
What's the job title?
It's code enforcement 1 is the civil service title, but we're using the term a public safety patrol to more accurately describe what it is.
Two things that we should, as sort of our last stand. One is, have we sent it out as part of the village newsletter? Because that reaches a lot of people that wouldn't necessarily see social media.
I'll double check that.
Let's get it out again.
Yeah.
Let's make it the top above the masthead, above the full type selling to get people. And the second thing is, let's find out, there's gotta be some newspaper for law enforcement professionals in the region that there might be a job placement classified ed type section for.
Maybe the unions,
Or
they might send it out.
Yeah, maybe let's just try to look a little bit more for the non-traditional. Obviously the job placement within civil service has to adhere to the requirements of what the job is under civil service, but for purposes of what we're looking for, we have to make it clear to people, we're really looking for someone to walk a beat and do a patrol.
From the TBA.
That's what she said, the unions.
Yeah,
The unions.
yeah,
That's the unions.
TPAs, turnover releases.
They do not have to be non-residents, no, we're not gonna restrict it to that. I mean, it'd be ideal, but it's not necessary.
Would like Rockland Works or any of the job placement groups be helpful?
I have no idea.
I don't know if it's worth checking with them. I know Rockland Works, I think, does their stuff up at BOCES.
But let's spend January trying to find more candidates, and if we're not successful, then by the time it starts getting warmer, we'll look at our other options. All right, anything else from old business?
Nope.
Any new business? Everyone wants to raise? Yep. Yeah.
Question to Steve. So I know we decided some point to take the benches out of school.
Square.
And we didn't entertain the idea of. Right, and the reason why I'm saying this is.
Cause I saw one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Today, I was coming out of a library and. So I was kind of shocked because I haven't been, it's been such a long time. So I'm like, I'm actually in the village. And talk about an eyesore. It was crazy. It was so cold.
Yeah.
So there's 10 of them standing out there. So along, where the barriers are, it's like that whole side, it's just full of,
The
they
barriers.
belong. So
Yeah,
We're on the roadside.
Like a makeshift
Like,
home.
it's like, I think they kind of get it like that before.
Yeah,
And they're putting up their little tents to kind of, I guess, to kind of set up for tonight. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah, to some extent, the problem got pushed down to this
Yeah.
park. What is everybody's thoughts on that?
So just to update you, today I had DPW tape. We're gonna move your stuff by Friday, notices to the piles. There's a couple of people who have piled stuff on benches, put tarps over them. And just saying, listen, you got this week to find a different location for your stuff or it's gonna disappear on you. And I think that's what we need to tell people that the park is not a place to keep
Right.
a pile of personal stuff, occupying a bench that people might want to use in a different way.
Does anybody have any thoughts on it? I just want to make sure that we're all okay, we're on the same page.
As long as we remove the DPW, use it to the stuff for the. And still kind of like a storage and so they know where it is.
I appreciate you saying that, but I'm not thrilled about that idea. I mean, giving someone 5 days notice,
I think
like
that was very good.
we start holding their stuff, some of it disappears. We take responsibility, did their walkie-talkie or radio or bicycle get damaged or disappear? They may have other personal items in there, like their prescription meds, who knows what. There could be bed bugs in it. I don't know. I don't want to be taking responsibility for people's private
Right.
luggage and bags and boxes of food and stuff like
Let's,
that.
I guess where is helping, I know you're constantly in touch with like Catholic Charities, DSS, all those guys. Anything from them in terms of,
Helping hands, well, the thing is, so
Yeah.
cold, I'm surprised they're not going to the shelter, I mean, it's really cold.
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak with knowledge for every single person who's leaving their pile in the park. Maybe they leave it there and they go to the warming center at night. I don't know. I know the one that looks like a campsite is just a tarp over a bunch of stuff. It's not someone sleeping. So
Can we let some of the services know that we've given that notice and so
Sure.
that they might go and try to help facilitate these people moving to someplace that's more appropriate for them? Because I don't want, and let's be a little soft on the deadline for Friday. That we give people a little bit of grace period to we give them the notice and then we give them an extra day or so to move the stuff. Yeah, it's not, I've gotten a number of calls about it, about people and complaints online and stuff like that about what's going on in the park.
I wouldn't, I'm thinking it might snow this Saturday, so I'm wondering. If we shouldn't hold, because we don't want anyone out in the cold during a snowstorm either. And I don't want, and that's where.
Well, the stuff they might, you might be right that they're leaving the stuff, they're not actually staying.
I mean, it's cold every single night, whether it's snowing or not.
Yeah, there's a 6% chance of snow on Saturday, so you're saying that maybe my leeway day, we go on Friday, we give them, you gotta move the stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's really my concern is like, but they shouldn't be out in the snow, period. It's
But
just
if
not-
you, but as you
but,
said,
yeah.
if you contact the other agencies and they circle around and maybe start the process of
Right,
trying
they
to
might be able to,
moving them
yeah.
along, it would be really good too.
All
So we're doing it and somebody else.
Is there like an exact count of who's down there?
No,
No? can we get one? So at least we just.
From who?
Yeah, I did it the other day either.
No, I didn't want to do it tonight, I felt bad, it's like this one lady, she kind of saw me staring out, she was cursing at me, it was like, what are you looking at, I'm like, why are you here?
I mean, I also asked that,
Tomorrow.
I also asked that question too, because like. People have been throwing around all types of different numbers as to how many people exactly they've seen, whether they've seen the same person multiple times or whatever. So just if we just have an exact accounting, that's just helpful for us so that we can, you know, dissuade people from saying, oh, it's like 20 people in Niagara or whatever crazy things.
But I thought they mentioned at one of the meetings we had here that there's people that count. The county sends out people to count.
There used to be an annual census of the homeless encampments countywide. I'm not sure the status of that project. But in any case, it's a fluid number. And yeah, every story is a little different. I mean, there's some people who rough it outside. There's other people who hang around and have a place indoors they go. Some people go to the warming center. That shuttle is moving out of here every single day and coming back with people in it. Everybody knows that exists. It's not a secret. And when people don't use the services, they're making.
How can gotta be enforcing that
Right,
Curfew.
that's part of it too.
when the curfew in the park is saying, you know, once we put the curfew on in the square, there was responsiveness to it. We have to, let's get in touch with them to make sure that they're, that's been a law for a long time, that park is supposed to be empty by, what is it, by 10?
Right, 10 o'clock, yeah,
And you said so the warming center van is coming every day now?
every day.
Every day, okay. And I know sometimes they started like a couple days and then they like.
No, they're pretty good.
It gets
They come
colder.
every day, and if it's really cold out, below 32 degrees, then they could stay at the buildings. They don't have to come back.
They don't have to come back. Well, it's gonna be.
They stay during the day. Interesting.
All right, well, thank you for raising that.
Thanks, Sally.
Yes,
That was-
we had some-
talking about that.
Yeah, I forgotten about that, but we had that.
Um,
Anything else that wants to come up in your business? I did want to say, Manny, thank you, and by extension, thanks to the new code enforcement officers. They obviously have been very hard at work going out. And we have had some hiccups, I think, from people who feel they obviously don't like having, you know, to do some of the things that we need them to do. I want you to know, I think you have the support of the board. I think we want to try to be a little maybe, we worked on a new letter to send so that people don't, they're seeing that, you know, the deadlines, which are statutory, is you have to give the deadline of like 2 weeks or whatever like that from the moment of the violation. But the problem is that the 2 weeks were over the holidays and stuff, and so people were freaking out. And we should probably try to reduce a little bit the simmer on that. But I do appreciate that the approach from the department has been to try to work in good faith to try to work things out. And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate the hard work they put into it. And the fact is that, you know, there's been a lot of commentary online in people complaining, but there's also been a lot of commentary, people saying, you know, this is great. Like I came to the corner and I could actually see, like, there was one on right on my corner, Hart Place and Fifth, and making that turn onto Fifth from Hart Place was always a little bit scary.
Yeah, that actually is a way better story.
And that turn is now much safer. So that was the idea of it, to make it safer. There were some aesthetic things that get lost on it, but I do appreciate, thank you for the hard work that they're putting into it.
I just wanna say one thing, I wanna also thank you because I know that you have worked with people that didn't quite understand or needed more time or whatever it was, and you've been very good about working with people, and I really appreciate that.
What we're going to do is an educational program. It's not necessarily court enforcement, but that's the only avenue that we have in our department. Everything is court enforcement. But we tried as much, you know, Andy also helped out with a letter he submitted, so we can, you know, you'll also, you gave us some idea, and it's a little softer. So we are, we can tone it down as much as we can, but we still just gotta stay.
There's
within-
requirements that you have with the system you have to follow.
But, you know, I gotta tell you, we are about 90% positive response on everything, 90%, which is, I mean, it is outstanding. You're always gonna have those few that are not gonna be happy regardless. About 90%, I think is really well.
What, give me your thoughts, just not official pronouncement, but you understood the argument being made by Ms. Ginjal about the
Yes,
hedge
yeah.
not being on the corner and being a one-way street
And
that,
we're working on that. I mean, it's not in the code, but we're gonna make our own decision, situation like that, and, we're gonna have to just let it be.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a
it's
hazard.
not a hazard, it may be above the 3 feet, but it's not
So
a hazard.
I'm
but
working
it's
on
not
that with the
corner.
guys, when they come to situations like that, let's look at individually.
That's what I think they don't have the experience to do yet. They
And
don't know it's a,
It's a training process, and I had to put them out there so they can get their feet wet, and then we start
they're
polishing.
certainly getting their feet wet. They're doing that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
I'm just saying it's a matter of discretion sometimes.
But they don't, sometimes when you're new at the job, you don't feel that you have the freedom, the leeway to make exceptions for things. So they have to write it up and then you have more experience at that. You can then work with them. But listen, I gotta say, we put the thing out, we put it out in the newsletter, we put it up online everywhere in November about what we're doing. There's still people that didn't know about it and they're still saying, what is this all about? It's like, here's the notice from November and here's what we said about it since. And sometimes people just, we think everybody's aware of what's going on because we're aware of what's going on. But sometimes it does take a while to penetrate the information of a, what?
No, nothing.
All right, thank you.
Just real quick, I
Thank you,
just wanna
Manny.
take the
Sure.
opportunity to say thank you.
It's really just Donnelly that's great, like
Star, guys.
everybody else has been on top. All right, thank you for that. We did communications, there's no more public comment. Comments from the Board of Trustees, anybody want to make a comment?
Happy New Year.
Yes.
I just,
But by the way,
hello,
we've talked about moving this, remember this was up?
Yeah, just
So
to
you want
move
me
it
to move
up.
it back up, back where was my commentary,
Announcements out in the beginning, in case there's anything we wanna.
let's move it back up for next time. Yes.
I just wanted to ask Manny a question about that Rockland Gardens topic that was brought up.
Yeah.
So number one, true or untrue that the village actually signs off on the placement of surveillance cameras?
No, we didn't.
Okay, so the village has no role in the installation or approval of
Yes.
cameras, just so you understand that. This question of somebody's rent check being opened by somebody else, like, I mean, I don't know that there's anything that any of us can say or do about that. She already knows Alex Bernstein. They know exactly where to go for legal
Okay,
advocacy.
good. All right, I was gonna say.
I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole trying to
Well,
figure out.
there were
who's
some things about the smoke detectors.
the
that-
smoke detector thing,
And the
that's a
construction,
Manny.
that they're doing construction, if they may not be permitted.
So that's a
No,
Manny.
they definitely have a permit. It's a lot of work going on in that complex. The entire complex is being renovated, every single apartment. They're replacing all the boilers. That's why they're having trouble with the heat, brand new boiler. These are huge boiler, bigger than this room. So it takes time to get them programmed properly. So we're working on that with them. They are allowed smoke alarms, but the thing is, they're switching from one company to another. So all the detectors are in place, and there's been a lot of false alarm only because first they only changed the devices, not the wiring. Then we found out, look, we need to change the wiring because it's very old and was causing a lot of false alarm. But eventually they're gonna be one complete system. They're gonna remove all the errors.
All right, so but Andy, with regard to the other stuff that's it's not legally under the Nyack Village jurisdiction. It is something that we can use some soft persuasive power to say, hey, listen, what's going on here? We're getting these complaints and.
No, I'll absolutely put her in contact with the people I know who run that outfit.
Also, wants too, in terms of the permits, because this wasn't mentioned tonight, but a few of these tenants I've met with them early, like late last year. They had also mentioned something about some of the larger apartments being downsized to like 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms and things like that. Did you know?
They changed some of the apartment, more of the accessible apartment, the handicap apartment. Those that did more work to those. But no, they all the same, like the same one. But they all getting renovated, either the kitchen or the bathroom or both, or the living room, different areas in different apartments.
I found it's just usually with all the apartments, especially affordable and low income, there are people that. I know that some of the ones we just stay out of, but like there's no contact information. Like even if I wanted to call someone there, I have no idea who to even contact.
And I will say, a lot of those tenants have been wanting to, like, they've been. This is not the first, we're not the first agency that they've kind of tried to go to for some of these things, and it's because, they're not being heard, they don't feel like anyone's hearing them. And yeah, I know that like Manny, I know you can't do anything about surveillance cameras probably, if we don't have jurisdiction over it, but it is worth kind of using that soft power because they feel over surveilled a lot. And I don't know who their landlord is or who their management is, but they are like, there's a lot of different violations that are just general housing violations.
Does anybody know if they have any kind of a residence committee or a tenants association?
So there are people that are there that have been there a long time that, like this woman did
Miss
tonight,
Regina, yeah.
that they appoint someone that comes and know the voice of some of the other.
But they don't have any formal process for
No.
reviewing issues, and it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
But
I
that
don't.
might be a good idea.
No, I wonder if they might, because isn't some of that section 8 anyway? Is there an avenue through HUD that they can go through? Do we know?
I mean,
I don't know.
Section 8 has a whole regulatory regime
Yeah.
for inspecting apartments and
Right, I mean,
safety and stuff like that. So
I should, yeah.
Yeah, my suggestion is to find out who's actually owning the place and just have a conversation with them, a friendly conversation about.
Yeah,
Yeah, that we're
I'll-
getting complaints.
Yeah.
And not in the sense that we have the legal right to tell them where to put the cameras, but. Explaining them what the concern is. I mean, this goes in the same file as the guy who I went to talk to his neighbor because his dog was pooping on his lawn and he wanted someone to talk to the neighbor. So I went to talk to the neighbor, like, I'm there, but that's what sometimes people ask you to do is that. I don't have any legal responsibility to do it, but sometimes they like to know that we're looking out for them. So let's make sure that they know that they're getting attention. If they feel that they haven't been heard, I want to make sure they walk out of here feeling like they were heard by us. Okay, that's important. All right.
One last question. So when they say, is it natural gas stoves and ovens in there?
Yes,
So when they say if there's a gas leak, would a gas leak ever set off a fire alarm?
not the smoke alarm, but the carbon monoxide.
So the CO and
I took that, heard of me that,
Yeah,
because they got that carbon monoxide warning.
we go there quite a bit.
And I do, we should.
so a CO alarm goes off from methane.
Yes.
Interesting.
Not the smoke.
Yeah.
So also, they don't call us to complain. We only got late last year, we got one complaint. And that was a tenant that was being evicted after fighting for a year. So he finally called us and complained about a few things he had in the apartment. But we don't get complaints from the tenants.
Yes.
They don't call the building department, let them know to call.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should let them know.
Yeah, they should be calling us.
Okay.
No heat, any issues in the apartment, anything like that. I mean, not the cameras, but anything else.
Right, anything else,
They
okay.
can definitely call us and we'll go out and take a look at it.
They're entitled to heat, they're entitled to
100%, yeah.
Hot water.
access to water, access to,
Yeah.
they're not supposed to be denied, except for, limited urgent, whatever, repairs and stuff like that. That's not supposed to be, it sounds like they are getting some of that during repairs, but she made it sound as if the heat's been off for more time than it should be.
Right,
With
yeah,
them not making any other alternate arrangements, so we can look into, that's something that's in our wheelhouse.
And just so you know, phase 2 of the code enforcement program that we have, first was, the property maintenance, now we're moving into the multi-family dwellings. We already sent out a whole bunch of notices of inspection that we're gonna be doing, and this is one of those complexes. But we're gonna go into every single apartment in the entire village and make sure that everything is in compliance, so that's gonna be their next phase that they already put in place.
All right, thank you for warning us about that's gonna start.
We're gonna check it out.
Next phone call.
So that's buildings, is it 3 or more or 4?
3 or more.
3 or more, 3 or more, yeah.
It's gonna be the landlords, it's not gonna be the tenants, it's gonna be the landlord. So these are notices that will go to the landlords, not the tenants.
That's correct.
So we're not gonna be hearing from 1,000 tenants, we'll be hearing from
let me know what you said.
40 landlords.
So I can make sure I'm not-
In mine too,
Excuse me?
and for condos as well, like.
Condos as well, yeah. Condos, we treat that as multi-family.
Happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get complaints about that, but some of the condominiums in the village, they feel like we got no jurisdiction in their property. And that's not
Well,
the
no, I
case.
know you're gonna be knocking on ours, so that's
They don't
fine.
get that many complaints. Because of how many tenants I've been hearing.
Yes,
want
about their
the building to-
apartments,
Yeah,
yeah,
about their apartments.
and
Want the
things
building
going
They
on.
want people to go, they want the building inspectors to come in
but we'll be in there. for sure.
So if you give notice, you might find people ready to
I'm
stay
the
home.
president of the condo board, but I'd like you to go into a couple of those units.
Can we, when is that project starting in multifamily?
Right now in January, we already.
All right, could we get regular updates about that? Either update Andy and Andy can update us, or you come to the meetings to give us an update on what you're finding, because I think that the kinds of violations that you found on the single family homes were, you know, the public safety issues were the hedges, encroaching on sidelines, you can't see a street number, so you can't, the first responders issues. But my expectation is you're gonna find much more serious things in the multifamilies. And so we'd like to keep track of, I'd like to keep an update of what's going on with them.
But again, we're doing that as well as an educational program to the landlord. We already send out checklists of the things that we're gonna be looking for. So they know ahead of time and they can start getting things ready. And then going forward, now they know they need to maintain that every year, all year long.
We're joking about the phone calls. The landlords might be more sanguine about this because they're used to, they deal with this kind of stuff if they have other buildings, and this is part of the doing business.
And that includes like the plazas, Tallman, like those places as well.
That's correct.
So you have a actual checklist already made up?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I want to copy it. Yeah, please.
I mean, just to give you an example, I know down in certain areas, to rent a property, you have to get a license, and to get a license, you have to do it every 2 years, and you have to have a physical inspection of property on probably, access to fire extinguishers, heat has to work, doors have to open and close, lock has to work, all that kind of stuff. And that gets done to get a right to rent it at all. That we haven't done anything like that, but this is a very worthwhile exercise to make sure that our rental stock is safe for the community, because you're gonna find lots of stuff. And you're gonna find probably some illegal apartments when you start going into those buildings.
Oh, wow.
That's what the tenants will complain about. The tenants will complain because they.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I mean.
If we go in and we take a three bedroom or 3 unit and it's only illegal 2 and one of them has to get eliminated, that's a tenant that is gonna be upset that they lost their apartment.
At least one person had complained about an apartment, and that was her concern, was that there are people there who, it might be a 1-bedroom, but it's not housing just one person, or whatever.
And that's what you're gonna get that in a tight housing market. You're gonna get people doubling up and taking illegal residences and whatnot. Thank you for that. All right, let's go back, public comment. Joe had a public comment, or not public comment, a trustee comment. And let's move what's now number 11, put it right under mayor's introductory remarks. Because that was the idea, that I would say something and then anybody who wanted to say something could say something, rather than doing it at the end of the meeting when everybody's gone. Yes. So give them the opportunity to speak at the beginning. Yes, go ahead, Joe.
Okay, I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank the mayor for the efforts that went into the holiday village. It was fantastic. I think a lot of people enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Seriously, you're like the P.T. Barnum of night, you
Have a great time.
you planned it, you initiated it, you ran it, you organized it. And I think we should give you many kudos for what you did. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. I appreciate the rest of you kind of agreeing. It was an important effort. I've not yet gotten feedback. I'll probably start getting some feedback at the next business council meeting on how the goal was to help the businesses have a good holiday season. Hopefully they did. And we had some fun though. There was some fun along the way, and we certainly have a blueprint now for doing it next year. It'll be a lot easier to do it next year, and we learn some stuff.
And Santa Claus, he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I want to thank my Santa Claus who was out there 3 or 4 times.
No, I was his agent.
Thank you for getting Santa Claus first. Because the Santa Claus didn't just appear where he was supposed to appear. He actually would take a tour of the downtown. So, lots of pictures of Santa all over the place.
Gotta do.
And Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Don.
No.
I had an observation actually during the holiday, Christmas season in the village. So I noticed Main Street that looked absolutely beautiful. But it kind of stopped there. It made a loop. It didn't go all the way down, and I know that there's been a lot of talk of trying to bring more attention to Sobro, I think you named it.
Down South Broadway.
Yeah, so, but there were no lights. Like Main Street was absolutely
Oh, like the
beautiful and
Christmas
well
lights?
lit, and then it kind of like
Well,
stopped.
there are lights, I
Yeah.
mean, we have the lights,
But they were lower kind of.
they were there all the time, they're not holiday lights.
Yeah,
We certainly will try to get more lights. The problem is that Sobro is like, if you put lights, Broadway's really long. And most of South Broadway, after you get past Bird, is like not, it's the
Oh, yeah,
it's the church, it's the YMCA, it's the Becky Bank, it's
And then it-
Nyack Center.
then it
And then at the
goes
very
over.
end, once you get to
Right.
Hudson,
It's
you
that.
start getting stores again.
right.
And
But
there's
it's-
also no, the light posts that we have on Main Street.
Yeah, I don't think there's
We
enough.
don't have any on,
No, and I was.
But
I
we'll
mentioned
do
that
something, cause I do wanna make sure that we support the.
And I
entire
think that
downtown.
was, you know, and I was there and I could see. Somebody was saying, oh, where is this going on? Oh, during the, was that a holiday, something, the DJ outside of Modern Druid, what was that affair?
Oh, that they did,
They did something, they had like an
Like the
outdoor
Halloween one that
market.
they always do?
yes, they did they had a band,
Yeah.
they had a band one day.
Right, they did, she was DJing, I was there, and that was also sort of dark, I thought it was really great, everything that they were doing, and there were people there, but people. Seemed to have been confused, it was like, I'm looking for South Broadway, this is going on, and like I'm directing them, because it's not as well lit.
Yeah, we'll do more next year, we'll try to add some lights, I mean, every year we buy more lights and the old lights are still good, so we end up with more places to light up, yeah.
can we leave the lights up, until March?
Are they still up?
They're still up,
Well, there's lights around every single tree and pole and the gazebo
Oh,
and
lights are
the,
still up right
I
now.
thought
Yeah.
you take down your, yeah, like, isn't that when you're supposed to officially take your?
My lights are
That's
still
how
up, I was just
religious
lazy.
you are.
Actually, one more comment on that. I feel like this time last year, we talked about first night and bringing that back.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The people who were at that meeting who said, oh, I wanna run first night, they
Yeah,
ran into delays. We put the time into the holiday stuff, because we really were trying to focus on
Right.
shopping.
right.
But the first night, which would probably, I don't know if we're gonna call it first night, because that's a trademark term, we have to pay for it. But we will, I think, try to extend the holiday stuff and look into New Year's Eve and try to do something New Year's Eve that's like that with the different performances and stuff. That sounds like a lot of fun, and we now have a year to plan it, so.
I only say that because Mrs. G Giles bought it up twice
Oh,
with me during this holiday season, so.
Are you
You know.
saying
I'm just saying.
Just blame the mayor, just blame the mayor. The mayor dropped the ball on that. But thank you for the feedback, that's good, and I think that we learned some stuff this year about what worked and what didn't work, and we'll be better next year for it. And we'll come up with some new things. There was more of a plan this year that we didn't execute on. There were 4 or 5 different elements that we just didn't have the bandwidth to get it done. But now that we've got the other things locked down, we'll be able to add some stuff to it, so it'll be good.
So about the holiday, about the light poles, can we leave the lights on until March?
Andy, really.
as long as you want them.
Well, we changed the lights in. You're talking about the lights on the trees going down Main
On the trees and also on the light poles.
and light poles. In the square though, we put in new lights we gotta take the tree down. And take out the Christmassy and
the goods will love it?
Hanukkah and
Say,
menorah and the
Popsy will love
and
it.
the creche and everything else. But they do remember we put up lights we put different colored lights for Valentine's Day, right? There's Valentine's Day lights. We have purple and red lights to go into the square. But I think, yeah, let's leave the lights on the street until it gets warmer,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah, until it starts being light out later, like right now it's kind of dark.
It gets kind of dark, it's nice to have them up,
Yeah.
they look
And while
nice.
we're talking about the lights, one last thing, I think I mentioned this before, right outside of Tom and Towers, it's very, very dark. I don't know if that's an O&R thing or whatever, but it's very, very dark across, the Y and there, it's just a dark patch. The pole's not working.
Oh, there's lights out.
Yeah, lights out.
Yeah, I actually told Anne Marie a couple of weeks ago that,
It's just a dark spot there.
All right, any other comment from the board? All right, do we have an executive session?
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna make a motion to go into executive session. When we come out of executive session, we're not gonna do any official business, except that we will be adjourning in the memory and honor of Miles Taylor, a former fire chief of the Nyack Fire Department, and a longtime Nyack resident, who passed, this past week or two. And it was, I went to the service on Saturday, up at, the cemetery. It was a lovely service. I mean, there must have been 50 or 60 firefighters there, not just from Nyack, but from Piermont and some other places as well. It was an honorable tribute to him. We will be adjourning in his honor, but before we do that, I'll take a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are now in executive session, and so.
Safe home.
Thanks, Manny.
And thank you, Linda.
Yeah.
For not thanking you.
Safe-
Linda, where did you?
Is this what's happening?